All right, let's head out to that Route 66 studio in the sky, the motherland on the information highway. Boy, I haven't said that term in a long time. Chris Attrell, how you doing today?
Wonderful.
Canada's greatest export. Actually, I can't say that because Terry Edom from the BOE report, that's how I refer to him when I interview him. He's out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I always say Canada's greatest export. He's a natural gas guy, so we kind of put a little spin on it. So, Chris Attrell, how you doing today?
Wonderful. And you?
Good, good. You're up in Canada, correct?
That's correct.
And Saskatchewan, if my memory serves me correct, on your profile page.
Yep, that's correct as well.
Okay. And what? By the way, before we get into your trips and treats and everything along those lines, you're up in Canada, and Route 66 is a U.S. highway. Are you from the United States? Did you live in the United States? Do you have a story that explains the attraction to the Route 66, I guess?
Yeah, well, actually, I did. I grew up in Houston, and
Oh,
in the 80s, right at the peak of like punk rock and new wave, Depeche Mode came up with a song called Route 66. That's how I actually got introduced to it. But there was no internet back then. So I kind of got the sort of mythical Route 66, and it was like really cool. But that's how I got introduced, actually.
right on. And so Houston, though, you were able to hit Route 66, I would imagine, at some point after that song because it's in the same state, although Texas is like three states in one. But did you hit Route 66 much, in small intervals or anything along those lines?
Nope, never. The only time I went down Route 66 was in 1980 when we drove from Los Angeles to Flagstaff, Arizona.
Okay. Um, what made you do the trip? And how much of the trip? First of all, how much of Route 66 have you done so far?
Oh, I've actually gone down Route 66 now 4 times in the last 4 years. I just can't get enough of it. So, yeah. So,
So you drive down from Canada every year to do this trip?
well, not every year, but my family still lives in the Dallas Metroplex mostly.
Okay.
And I'm usually in wintertime make a trip to Nevada or California or Arizona just to get away from the winter.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because I started doing YouTube videos, I've actually explored it a few times because every time you go, there's more to see, something you missed last time, so it's still exciting after 4 trips.
Well, I'm doing this trip starting June 1st, and we're gonna do one county per day. So I'm actually working, right? So I'm gonna people think, oh, you're going on this great trip. Yeah, but I'm working. It's not like, I mean, we're going to be doing recording sessions and getting content, and we thought, if we could spend one day per county, that's something that we've never seen before. And Route 66 has produced a lot of angles, a lot of avenues, it's got more stories than Mother Goose, man. It's got, all kinds of different angles to it. But we didn't really see the per county way. And I'm trained in the media and government affairs and all that stuff. So it made perfect sense to me. I mean, geez, you got county representatives, you got all these cheerleading nonprofits that should be helping you out and should be a, no problem type thing. But when I started getting into it, I wouldn't even be able to take in half of what Route 66 can offer, spending one day in each county. Keep in mind, some counties are like 10 miles or 30 miles. It's not like, when you do it county by county, you're talking about 55, 56, 57 breaks along a 2,400-mile route. And just the Ken, I was talking to Ken in Oklahoma yesterday, who's Ken's Route 66 Adventures. He's a lot like you, just out there doing videos on the road because he has a romance or a fascination or a spiritual attraction to the road. And we were talking about, even if there's 6 restaurants in a county, you can only hit one. Like you can't go. I mean, maybe you could go to Dell's Chicken and then go grab a snow cone over at the Cozy or Dog or something like that. But it's not. There's so much to do that you can keep going back and back and back. It's quite remarkable is what I'm getting at. How many different ways that you can do it. So I'm not surprised that you keep coming back, but I'm surprised that you're driving down from Canada because you got a lot of options on your way down. I mean, you got the Black Hills and all kinds of different stuff. Now, where are you at in Saskatchewan?
I live in Shaunavon, which is in the very southwest. So it's about an hour and 20 minutes to drive to Harlem, Montana.
Oh, you boy, you do have to drive then because
Yeah.
oh yeah, but you're like it's like why people don't go to Glacier National Park. It's just in the middle of nowhere. It's just one of the most gorgeous national parks we have because nobody goes there. It's untouched. People take the Amtrak specifically to drive on the back roads there of Montana and Idaho because there's nothing back there. So boy, how far of a drive is that to and where do you come out on Oklahoma City or where do you land at, I guess?
Well, see, it depends. See, you're right. We're in a very remote area. The county south of here is considered the most remote county in the entire lower 48. So, but the thing is that when you're in Montana, no matter which way you go, everything's beautiful. If you come in through Denver, beautiful. If you come in through Salt Lake City, beautiful. If you come in through Nevada, it's always a great trip when you leave Montana to go anywhere in the Southwest. Anyway, but it's about 18 to 24 hours to get to Route 66, but it takes about 4 days to get there.
No kidding. So you're talking about 24 hours, 4 days. And I suppose, yeah, you can choose to go the Salt Lake way, the Denver way, and each one's a different adventure. So when you have you started at the Santa Monica Pier? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, that my very first time at the Santa Monica Pier was on my most recent trip last month.
Okay, and did you do the whole route or did you did? And how long did that take?
I did that over 9 days.
Okay.
Now, I could have taken longer, but here's the twist. I turned around and went back most of the way to make sure I got all the footage and photos that I wanted, and then I came home. So I kind of actually drove both ways.
Boy, that's not, yeah, you got to backtrack, especially if you missed that teepee, right? In Arizona, you got to go back and get it. You bet. I used to be in the magazine business, and so I'd travel with a photographer all the time. And all of a sudden, he would just pull over in the middle of nowhere in certain times of the day just because of the way the light was. And he would drive a half hour out of the way if he knew of a certain area because he wanted to reach it at the time of a day where the light was going to hit it in the best way possible because he's a professional. And I've never seen him take a bad picture. And so he knows what he's doing. He understands what he taught me about light just by my observations was a master's class in my opinion, type of a thing. So I get what you're talking about, whether it's content or time of the day, or I've done it for interviews before. It's important. Those things are it's the details, right? It's the devil in the details that make things important. I imagine yours was for different reasons, but do you travel alone each time?
Yeah, I travel alone because my wife doesn't like driving.
Oh, and you're
So
even married and you travel this much? Holy,
yeah, she
holy
likes it.
Hannah. Has she ever taken the trip ever?
Oh yeah, she comes with me, but not that often, just because she does not like riding in the car. And when you're this
Ah,
remote, everywhere you go is going to take a 3 hour drive, just about right,
yeah, it really is. So
even to an airport.
how far are you from the border then? You mentioned the lower 48, so I assume that you're a stone's throw away from the Montana border.
Yeah, so it's about a 45-minute drive to get to the Manitoba Montana border, but it's only open 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
What do you mean by that?
No, the border they close the border up at 5, and they open it again the next day at 8 in the morning.
And like the big arm comes down and you can't drive through type of a thing? No kidding.
That
Uh,
remote.
wow. Is there a Route 66 in Canada? Is there a famous maybe it's the Autobahn, I think Amsterdam or Holland has the Autobahn, right? Or who has the
Yeah, we
Autobahn?
have the Trans Canada Highway, which goes all the way from Vancouver Island to Newfoundland. So it's the longest highway in the world.
Oh, it is. Have you ever taken that?
Oh gosh, no, that would take like about 2.5 weeks,
Oh
maybe one
gosh,
day.
no. No way, man. I'm going Route 66 instead. Four
Yeah.
times in 4 years. I'm not doing the Trans Canada Highway.
Well, and it involves a 6 hour ferry ride.
Wow. Boy, that really is planes, trains, and automobiles, isn't it? I mean, you're talking. You'd be really lucky to run into a shower curtain salesman on that trip, John Candy. Oh, he's Canadian too, living legend there. That's right, John Candy.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh, yeah, in fact, have you ever eaten the 72-pound steak or the 96-ounce steak they've got at the Big Texan Amarillo Steakhouse? Have you ever done that?
Oh no, I don't think I could. I don't think I could even get half of that. No, I can't eat that much.
I'm trying to sweet talk a few Midland, West Texas Roughnecks. I'm trying to sweet talk a few of them to come up when we hit the Big Texan to see if they can't eat that big steak, and do it while we broadcast. See if they can't pound one down or two or something like
Oh
that.
wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been done to death. In fact, I was just wondering today. Today was the day that Joey Chestnut got arrested or something for slapping someone in the bar, and it was literally one of the six sports headlines I get, at my sports news. And I thought, boy, I've really made it in the world when pro wrestling and professional hot dog eating is a regular rotation of my sports headlines. Boy, we've really changed a lot in the world of sports. You know what I mean? I grew up with the great prophet George Carlin, where he talked about there was three sports and everything else was just an activity or a hobby and that sort of thing. And so I kind of like, what did he call hockey? Three sports in one. It's playing with a puck, it's ice skating, and beating the crap out of somebody. Three sports in
Yeah.
one. At any rate, do you have a, favorite spot? And by favorite, name a couple, because unless you have a just standout favorite, like a gentleman I interviewed last week that described a piece of pie down to the flaky crust. Unless you got, do you have any favorite spots that you just make sure you stop by each time, or do you try
You're
to
talking
pick
about
new
like restaurants or
stops?
places to eat?
Yeah, just yeah, restaurants or giant blue whales or anything
Oh,
like that. Like that you've done it four times now. So, are you picking new things each time? Do you make sure you stop at the whatever that midway point cafe to get a piece of that pie or whatever the case might be? I'm not sure. I've never done the whole Route 66 in its entirety. I've mostly done the Oklahoma, from Tulsa to Oklahoma City. And I've mostly done, and then maybe even down to the Panhandle because of the energy company that I was doing reporting for. But then I'll, like you, the Flagstaff to Arizona stuff. That's, I'm sorry, the Las Vegas to Flagstaff Route 66, basically. But do you have any stops that you prefer?
yeah. Like my favorite by far is as soon as you leave San Bernardino, you go up to Cajon Pass, right through California, all of California. Once you hit north past the Cajon Pass, it's like Barstow, Amboy, because now you're very remote. Like there's not a lot of traffic, there's not a lot of people, not a lot of towns. You have to get gas and water because a gas station may not be open for a couple hundred miles. I like it because it's so wild. It feels like the Route 66 I imagined when I heard that Depeche Mode song in 1987.
Um, did you say Oatman? No, you said Amboy and
Yeah, like when
Barstow.
you leave, like get to places like Barstow,
Yeah,
Amboy, really you're getting off the interstate and now
yeah. I
you're
mean,
on the really
it's Death Valley with people. Limited people, but I
yeah.
mean, it's essentially you're running parallel with Death Valley. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's a reason that you need to stock up on water and provisions because there's not a lot of people that live out there. It's too hot, and there's just not a lot of vegetation and water. And so in the Southwest, especially, you've got to congregate because of the water distribution. And that is one of the more interesting things of Route 66 too, because Amboy and Barstow, and you'll notice there's a town called XXXYZ, and that was because of the water uh, stops for the railroad. Up in my neck of the woods, they were up in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota here. They're named after wives and daughters, and they were for grain. So every 16 miles you had, and this up in your neck of the woods, that mostly it's farming and that sort of thing. But, ours was every 16 miles, you had to have a grain elevator because that was the amount of time it took the farmer, horse and buggy, to drop the grain off at the elevator, and get home before dinner. And so that was how America was originally built with the railroad, was, towns like that. And in California, by the time they got out there, they decided, water instead of grain, because water was their necessity. Instead, they had plenty of food, man. They got orange groves galore, and avocados and California salads and the whole deal. But they needed water for a lot of that stuff, and the alphabetical seemed to work pretty good. Interesting stuff. I found that the most interesting aspect of Route 66 for me, because I was a lot like you, where I really didn't drive it, but it was the pop culture that brought me in. And I've said this about the Black Hills, that the first time I was in the Black Hills, I swear felt a spiritual connection to that place. And so I kept returning. And I felt like that the first time I was on Route 66 too, that there was some kind of attraction I could not explain. And so when the 100, I actually was attracted to Route 66 before the 100th anniversary, before I even knew about it. And then once I saw that, I'm like, well, now it's all falling into place, type of a thing. But the most amazing aspect of Route 66 to me is that it's technically a national park. And so in order to keep it the way it was and protect it, that to me is remarkable, because you're talking about, I forget the word off the top of my head, anamorphic, where you humanize something that's not human. And it's an a literary word, and it's late in the day, and I've been up since 3 o'clock, so, and I'm on my fifth cup of coffee here trying to keep going. But that to me is one of the more amazing things, because national parks, do give you a sort of a lift of endorphins in it. There's a scientific study called the awe effect, as in the awesome effect, and they use the Grand Canyon and mountaintops, that your serotonin levels lift up, and your everything, your cells lift up, and that type of thing. And so that to me is Route 66, that it inspires people in ways that no other road has done. It attracts people in a way that I'm literally 50 yards from Highway 59. I've never heard a song called Highway 59. There's not some annual festival called Highway 59. All the classic car shows are actually in the small town. They're not even on Highway 59. So you get my point, that this highway is remarkable, because it's not really a highway. It's technically a national park that's preserving industrial art in the same way that we are trying to preserve nature. I find that fascinating. I find that layered and complex and beautiful. Is there any abstract, hippie nonsense like that you find cool about the Route 66?
Well, I do appreciate, like, for the cultural aspect. Like, I totally do. Like, the one thing about Route 66 is what it's rooted in, right? Like, all those people from Oklahoma during the Dust Bowl, that was their route to California to get jobs and start a new life, right? Songs are made about it because it really did impact those communities along Route 66 in a way we wouldn't understand. Because you have a small town like Vega, Texas. One day it's just a small farming community. Next decade, it's right along the mother road. Places boomed, hotels boomed, people got rich. And then, of course, the interstate did the opposite. Killed those places, almost, like a lot of them, right? So that kind of thing, I do admire the fact that they're protecting and trying to capture that spirit.
The interstate story to me is one of the more undertold stories of my lifetime. Um, when you look at, like I mentioned, the way that the railroad did the, I don't know what do you call it? Societal engineering, I suppose, of mass engineering to really create the infrastructure. When the interstate came in, and we've seen it up here in my neck of the woods on Highway 75 and again Highway 59, a lot of these towns that were reliant on the grain elevators and the highway system, that when the interstate came in, boy, those towns just dried up. And I literally was probably in my 30s until the first time I'd ever even heard anything that would open up that topic in my mind. And once that topic has been opened, it's been just layered after layered, because it is very political. In fact, in Oatman, that's one of the interviews I did the other day. He got into the history behind why um, Oatman got, I believe it was Oatman, got Route 66 instead of a different, easier drive because of, some rich guy that paid off someone back in the day and ended up getting it in his area so he could profit. In the meantime, it's the most dangerous strip of highway considered in America. I mean, you got the sidewalk back when this was when I was researching Route 66. People used to make a living driving other people's cars through it because it was so dangerous, like a Sherpa. You know what I mean? It was like a road Sherpa, and I thought, boy, this is fun. This is I but I used to do like a late night talk show. So when a crazy person would call in, I'm like, yeah, tell me more, man. Like, I'm kind of enabling it a little bit because, well, hey, I get bored easy. Uh, so do you have any advice for anybody who's going to be driving? Like I'm driving it for the first time, but I'm taking one day at a time. So I'm going to have plenty of time to adjust and ask questions and, find my way, if you will. But I'm glad I'm asking these questions of people because when I interviewed Reese Martin from the Oklahoma Association, Route 66 Association, I didn't realize they had kind of, you know, off record Airbnbs that you can stay at that are for RVs and that kind of stuff. I forget there's an actual term for it and I forget it off the top of my head, but he's the one who told me about the sidewinders. And so when in Oatman, well, I'm in my camper right now. It's a 25-foot pull behind camper. As you can see, it looks like an apartment on wheels. And I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to bring that at all, because that sounds like too much work. I don't even like driving it on the highway. So I couldn't even imagine what it would be like trying to manage it in a California Sidewinder. I mean, Wyoming, I about, dropped my drawers. So, anyway, you got any advice for anybody out there, good, bad, or anything? Like, some people mention right away, hey, remember that the GPS, it's not Route 66. You got to get a special GPS for Route 66 if you're going to do it because your phones don't. It's not an official highway, type of a thing. So, but you got any advice?
Yeah, like that place you're talking about, the Oatman Sites Grief Pass. If you do have a large vehicle, don't go down it. It's 192 curves, and man, it's scary when you're in a small car, too. But yeah, my advice is like when I did Route 66 in April, it wasn't that busy because it's not tourist season. But there were days where it's already starting to get busy, and it's going to be really, really busy this summer. So if you are going to be going in a summer trip, which you are, you're going to probably have to be a lot more patient because these places, I can already tell, they're not used to having many people visiting. So yeah, if you're going in summer, be patient because it's going to be popular. And I mean, it's popular. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but people in April were already coming from Europe and stuff like that. Parking lots were full. This is going to be exciting.
Oh, I've noticed a big uptick actually. It literally was like there was a starter pistol. And I've got I've been in the media for 30 years and I've been using the internet since the early 90s. And, I started using AI 5 years ago to help me with organizational things because, I'm a writer by trade. So AI is I'm the first job to go. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you're a travel agent during the internet, you're the first one to go, man. And, graphic designers, sorry, you're gone too. It's just the reality of where we're at. And so, um, I used to back in the day, I'd get up every day and I would type in keywords and do Google searches and ask Jeeves searches and Yahoo, maybe even Comet if that was a thing. If my memory serves me, that was a search engine too. And you'd look for news stories and you'd look for me, I would always look for the blogs, because the news stories you can get off the AP, you can get off the Associated Press. So I started looking into modern day. Now, flash forward to modern day. Instead of blogs, I'm looking at YouTube videos and I'm looking at Facebook posts and I'm looking at, social media type of things that are Route 66 related to generate my leads for stories like this. I mean, I reached out to you. I think it was through YouTube, correct? That you had a YouTube video. And so by doing that, then we can kind of do a 1-2 punch with the story, get their point of view, and then get kind of a professional reporter's point of view to try to help tell the story and do those things and everything else as well. And April, see, May, mid-April to end of April. So say after Easter, we'll say after Easter. It was like 10 times the amount of Route 66 traffic came into my inbox. Like, like, okay, there was 10 videos uploaded on YouTube instead of one. And there was, all the Facebook posts, forget it. You can't, because those you got to scroll down and you're like, oh, for every 5 minutes, somebody's got a new one coming up. And I talked to Big Mike and Seligman at Route 66 Relics or Roadside Relics the other day. And I literally talked to him for 5 minutes to see if, about doing a recording session there. And he had to help 3 people. And they're all taking pictures for online. So here he's talking to me on the phone. He's taking pictures for people coming in, and he's selling them merchandise. You want to talk about being busy? That guy. I mean, how many more hands can you have? And so number one, be patient. The road is going to be busy, and I think it's going to be busy mostly because of 1 day trip people. Actually, I think you're going to have a lot of people that are going to go and drive it and really take it in. But I think you're going to have a lot of people that are bored and they're going to want some social media attention. And so let's go hit up a diner or a big blue whale on Route 66 and call it a day, a day after, just a day trip. You don't even have to stay overnight. And all of a sudden there you go. That's like going to the county fair or like going to the high school basketball, whatever the social media fodder is. That's the thing I think is going to help Route 66 more than anything is people's drive for social media. I mean, you drove what, 6 hours? If you drove 3 hours backwards and 3 hours forward just to make sure that your social media content was, perfect. Hey, that's an artist, man. That's an
Yeah.
artist, spend 9 hours on just a little piece to make sure that piece is perfect. Oh, as a writer, you could seriously spend 6 hours fine tuning one sentence, and someone will find one adjective, down tucked away at the end as you're just trying to finish up a 20-hour story or something like that and just ruin your whole day. So, what how about when you're out driving this and that? Budget wise, are you finding that you're able to hit your budget? Are you finding you have to spend more than you thought, or are you being able to under your budget? I guess when it comes to budgetary items, with gas prices and inflation has gone so wickety wackety over the last 6 months that it's hard to even know what people are pricing things these days too.
Yeah, well, gas prices in the States are still cheaper than they are in Canada. So it's still maybe expensive for you guys, but it's still less than what we're paying. But I did notice my trip I went in February to April, the price of gas in American gas stations did go up a lot. However, I did save money because there's still a lot of good bargains at some hotel and motels along Route 66. They're probably going to go up significantly in the summertime. But I did come in under budget, but I'm also very thrifty. And, I'm not a big spender type of person, right? So I hope gas prices don't keep going up because that's going to take a lot of fun out of these trips.
It will change things for sure, absolutely. And so you travel alone, and so do you stay in a hotel mostly? Do you sleep in a vehicle ever to save money?
No, I don't, because I have to charge my batteries because I do videos, right? I have to charge batteries and all that stuff. So I do stay in a hotel, but I don't stay in luxury hotels. And I don't stay at the really, really like Irwin Motor Inns. I try to stay somewhere in the middle. And I
Yeah,
found them to be pretty much reasonably priced the entire trip, except when you're in Los Angeles area.
it gets a little pricey down there.
Yep. Motel sixes were $110. I'm like, okay, that's pretty expensive for a Motel 6.
Oh, I guess, but if being in Houston, you understand the energy business, so being around some of those oil and gas areas, boy, it gets pretty pricey up there. They'll have no problem charging you $250 for a Motel 6 in Midland, Texas. They'll have no problem doing. They won't blink an eye either. So I I learned what price gouging was in the Bakken oil fields out in North Dakota. Like, oh
Oh.
my, I couldn't believe. Well, because we didn't have, in North Dakota there wasn't oil my whole life, and then all of a sudden there was oil, and everything was 3 to 5 times the price overnight. Like you, like people that were charging $200 for an apartment because nobody was living out in that area were now charging $2,000 to $3,000, and you had to mow the lawn, and you had to pay the utilities, and you had to fix the broken window that was already broken. That type of thing. It was just, and they got it. They got it because the oil companies, they'll just write the check and keep moving because, it costs them more to slow production down than to keep moving ahead type of a thing. But anyway, uh, well, how's the videos going? I see you got a few 100,000, 400,000 followers. Is that right?
No, I'm at about almost 120,000.
120,000. Okay. Okay. So, Justin Scared was the other one that's got 375. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got you two mixed up there because you had similar videos and I was reaching out at similar times. 125,000. That's incredible. Really, in my opinion, anybody who gets anything more than 10,000, well, you're doing good. I mean,
Well, thank you.
it's a I've been in the media my whole life, and it's a feast or famine industry. And so whether someone's doing it as a hobby or doing it as professional, it's hard to get people to pay attention to your stuff because um, you're competing with reruns of The Office. You're competing with NFL football. I mean, you're competing with OnlyFans. There's so many different varieties of content, but at the end of the day, there's still two eyeballs and 24 hours in a day for most human beings. Not trying to be insensitive for the Cyclops individuals out there, but you get my point that, there's only so many hours in the day and people have choices. And, to get 125,000 followers and on YouTube, are you on other social platforms too?
No, because the other ones are kind of like a waste of time because you do all that work and get so little pay. But I do find that YouTube, when you're appealing to people who just want mature,
Everybody always asked me why I wasn't on Facebook, and I said, because I don't work for Meta. That's why, because Meta doesn't do anything to help me. It just all it does is it wants my content and my ad revenue. It doesn't want to help me at all. In fact, people are stealing my stuff from my website and putting it on their Facebook, and they're profiting off it somehow. So that's I'm with you on that. Where YouTube helps you try to make money, and Facebook does not. So anyway, I found that
yeah,
funny that. So
yeah, there's still a market for mature quality content that's not trying to like get you that 30 seconds of attention span. So
have
I
you
like
tried
YouTube.
Substack?
No, but I've heard of it, but I've never.
So, Substack is, it's got a little bit of a stigma still to it, which I think is by design by some people because anybody that spends 5 minutes on Substack that has any experience, whether it be hobby or professional in the media, they go on Substack because
Mhm.
it allows you literally to become a media company. And last month they upgraded their technology once again because they're constantly upgrading it. Um, you can now live stream from Substack in the same way you can on YouTube and LinkedIn and everything. So Substack you can live stream, and then like this video for example, I upload it to Substack first, and then Substack uses AI to put it on YouTube and LinkedIn for me. So I don't even have to do that. Now, I do have to go and put the description on YouTube and the thumbnail, and I always forget to do that till like 3 days later, type of a thing, because I'm not one to go on my own channel. I'm not. I'm more of a shouter than an engager. I like to shout my stuff and just move on because I was in the media my whole life, and that's the way we were trained. But so, YouTube is your primary channel that you try to direct people to. Are you looking at trying to make some money out of this, whether it be through YouTube monetization? Are you looking for sponsors? Do you have sponsors? This is where just an opportunity I like to give people to either try to, mention any sponsors or solicit if they're looking for sponsors, or if they, subscribe to YouTube channels, or because sometimes that's all it is. Sharing and liking things on social media can really do wonders for people when that's all they're looking for. That they're just trying to get the word out there, and so how can somebody help you?
Yeah, just subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't do sponsors. I had a few reach out to me, but I'm not quite comfortable with being sponsored because I don't like doing things that people tell me to do. I like doing things my own way, and say what I want to say. So I pretty much just get YouTube monetization and no official sponsors. But that's why I
Okay.
like YouTube, is because they're very supportive.
Yeah, and they seem to work with you pretty good. Substack does monthly subscriptions is how they do it. And so you like we offer subscriptions for $6.66 a month. Or 660. Sorry, we don't want 666, so we did 660. Yeah, I typed in 666 originally. Like, nope, backspace one, and we'll do $6.60 for the monthly. But yeah, so Substack does allow you to monetize on that as well. In fact, I noticed that a newspaper in South Dakota actually went on Substack. They got rid of their IT team basically, and are a couple salespeople and writers. Instead of going out of business, they decided to try that method, and now they're doing really well. They got the, in fact, I just saw last year they got the public notices from the county because they got so many subscribers now. Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. It's empowering content providers in the same way that YouTube is doing it, but it's doing it in more of blog first, video second, but now the video's caught up to the blog part. So I just invite you to check it out, and you seem like a pretty sharp guy. You'd figure it out really quick. But again, like anything, how much time do you have in a day, and what's the
Mm.
value of your time? And for me, that's why I went off Facebook in 2016. I valued my time much more than what I would put into that social media platform, and um, at any rate, well, let's see. Do you got another trip planned, or is this it for the year, or what do you think? You got more videos that you're dropping? What's the next steps for Route 66 and Chris Attrell?
Yeah, I'm going to be making a few trips because I, live in Saskatchewan. You got to take advantage of the non-winter months.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly working on one. It should be ready next month. Just a short 20-minute video talking about the history of Route 66. So a lot of people understand those early days and how it impacted the communities and, of course, the people during the Great Depression. And that's probably all I'm going to do for Route 66 as a whole. But I'll probably go back and visit some of the communities like Vega, Texas. I just fascinated with that little town, right? It's got the small town Texas vibe, and Route 66 all over because that was part of its identity until the highway got built. So I'm going to
Now,
go back and do some local stories.
now, when you do that, do you basically fly into Dallas and visit family, and then jet over from there? Is that kind of the idea behind that trip then?
Yeah, like flying you can fly from Billings to Dallas direct, so it saves a lot of time.
Oh
And you
my, you got to drive to Billings?
can,
Do you
yeah.
do you, do you seriously? You have to drive to Billings to?
Well, you can pick Billings or Great Falls. Great Falls is a 4-hour drive. Billings is a 5-hour drive, but Billings has direct flights.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
Falls doesn't.
Yeah, but I was gonna say Billings is more in the southern part of the state
Yeah, it's
than
a
it is.
five
I
hour
mean,
drive.
yeah, I mean Billings is like the edge of the mountains. It's like I'm closer to Billings than you are, I think.
Yeah, you very well could be. That's how remote
Honestly,
I
I'm
am.
I'm like I'm 7 or 8 hours from Billings is what I think it is at the end of the day.
Okay, so yeah, so you know what it
Yeah.
is. So I have to go to Calgary, which is 5 hours. Great Falls is four, or Billings is five. So that's how remote I am.
Do you have any
We're not,
puddle jumper stations? Like, do you have a Moose Jaw or something that you could go to, or what is your closest town? Do you have like a Walmart, or what would be like a Walmart in Canada? Do you have Walmarts? Yeah,
oh yeah, we have them. So we have to drive about an hour and 10 minutes to Swift Current, or about
Swift
two and a half
Current.
hours to Medicine Hat.
Oh, okay. Now I know where you're at. I know where Medicine Hat is. Okay. Boy, you're 2 hours from Medicine Hat. I used to say this all the time to people in, you know, cities that didn't understand what it was like to be in like rural areas. So, uh, on the west side of North Dakota, like North Dakota is eastern heavy. Like 70% of the population is like 20 miles from the eastern border of North Dakota. If you draw a line from Canada to South Dakota, 20 miles in, that's literally 70% of the population. So the rest is spread out through, 90% of the whole state, right? Like we've got, Billings County, I think has 800 residents, 798 of them are millionaires because they all have oil rights, but they only 800 people in the whole county, right? So it's not like this highly populated. You mentioned, you're in, I think the least, no, the most remote county was in Montana. So, um,
But I
so,
did live in right by you. I did grow up a little bit, lived in Sidney, Montana. So we're just like walking distance in North
oh, so
Dakota.
the example that I would always give people is, Williston or Fort Tuna or Sydney, like that, to where if you're in that area or Bowman, Bowman is in the southern part, Williston's up in the northern part, right? You're still like 5 hours from Bismarck. So if you want to go to a Bismarck Bobcats game or go to a concert of a C-level tiered person, not even a A-lister, but a C-level, you're 5 hours away. Like, and in Bowman, they don't have a McDonald's. They don't have, so like there are people down, like I was talking to a guy who was 45 years old and he's been working at the same job since he was 16 in Bowman. And I thought, now here's a guy who probably hasn't left Bowman more than a half a dozen times a year. Like, and he's 5 hours from the Black Hills and he's 5 hours from Bismarck. Like, cheapers. Like, and there's no airports. Like, there's not like there's an airport nearby that it's a puddle jumper airport. It's not like a real airport. So, holy Hannah, man, you've got some real living out there. Like, do you live like in a city or out on acreage or?
No, I live in a small town, Shaunavon. There's 1,600 people. It's not very big, but it's considered big for the area.
Yeah, 1,600's that's a decent size. I mean, you've got at least a dollar store and that kind of stuff. I'm just kidding. Boy, Macintosh caramels up there and real craft. What do you call Kraft mac and cheese up there? Mac and cheese or what is it?
Yeah, we just got mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's different up there. I was talking to the other day about my favorite candy growing up was a brick of caramel called Macintosh caramel. It's just like a brick of diabetes, and they took it off the market in the 80s, and you can only get it in Canada. And it's a Canadian caramel. But anyways, well, in closing, I guess, did you have any final thoughts or anything that we left out or anything you want to mention about Route 66 or your webpage or your trips or anything like that?
Sure. Well, one thing you can do, I have an older video I made like 3 years ago called Ghost Towns of Route 66. A lot of the stuff is probably gone now or rehabilitated. But if you're into ghost towns, that's mostly what my channel's about. Like not just Route 66, but as you know, Route rural North Dakota, Montana, Southwest Saskatchewan, there's a lot of ghost towns in the middle of nowhere. So it is kind of like most of the style of videos that I do. But the ones around Route 66, there's a lot of really good ones.
And how many different ghost towns do you think you've been in?
All together?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's got to be like 500, 600
Oh,
all
oh,
over the
really?
Western US and Canada. Yeah. I live in like Ghost Town Trail in Canada, right? So yeah, I've been about 500
You
ghost
live
towns
on
in the
a
past.
ghost town trail? Like that's
That's what they called it. How you're in Southwest Saskatchewan, Ghost Town Trail.
it reminded me of that. I mentioned that price gouging story. I forgot to include that $200 to $300 apartment they were getting $3,000 for that you was smaller than most people's bathrooms was in Tornado Alley because
Oh.
multiple times a tornado has ripped apartments or houses out of that area. Like for some reason, tornadoes really like that street.
Oh.
It's like that movie What in the World According to Garp after the airplane runs into the house and he's like, I'll take it. Do you know what the odds are of another airplane hitting this? It's got to be astronomical. Like we'll never get hit by another airplane again. Let's take this house. I love that logic. Well, I appreciate the time today. Good times. And if you got other stuff, be sure to let us know. And if you got new videos that are Route 66 related or you go on a trip, make sure to let us know. We'd love to get the messages out there and put them in the archives, if you will. That's one of the fun things that we're doing. That we're grabbing these and trying to get as many of these as possible into the National Archives because all these stories are just fantastic. All the different angles, and whether it be the ghost towns or the sporting events, or um, I was somebody the other day was talking about trying to hit all the dispensaries on Route 66, and I'm like, hey man, I talked to another church that's trying to do a devotional for every mile, so um, there's a lot of stories, a lot of avenues, a lot of angles, and that's the beauty of it. Just keep on inspiring people and keep creators creating and the road moving forward. So final thoughts, I guess. Where can people get your stuff? I guess do you have a website or is it just the YouTube page?
Yeah, just type in my name into YouTube, Chris Attrell. It takes you right to my YouTube channel. And yeah, you can watch all my videos and subscribe right there.
Well, I appreciate the time today, good sir.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.